Hey, this is Nick Stahl, and you're listening to the Don't Go Out There podcast.
In a world where zombies, ghosts, serial killers, and vampires all exist, it's Nico, Brian, Mike, and Dustin, and they are all that stand between you and the films that could end the world. Welcome to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Don't Go Out There Horror Movie Podcast. Just want to thank all of our fans and listeners. Really appreciate the support. You guys are awesome. Before we get into tonight's film review, just want to give a quick shout out to our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Everything about our podcast is on the website. All of our episodes and interviews, if you want to check those out. We've done some incredible interviews in the past. Go check them out there in a specific tab by themselves so you don't have to scroll through hundreds of episodes on Apple or Spotify, etc. We also have our store if you want to grab a shirt, a mouse pad, a hat, all that good stuff. We'd love to see your pictures, rep your favorite podcast. And Shan's Etsy page is also attached if you want to grab a tumbler. All of our social media links are on there as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Like us, subscribe us, follow us, all that good stuff. And the last thing I want to shout out on our website is our Patreon. We call it Blood Donors. We have the traditional monthly reoccurring kind. If you want to support us, help us pay the bills, as we say. Or if there's a movie you want us to review, that option is available as well. Just check out our website, don'tgoouthere.com. Also, if you haven't noticed, we've recently joined the Believe Network. So there's some ads on our program now. But if you want ad-free content, go check us out on Blood Donors. The ad-free episodes will be available there. We appreciate your support. We hope you enjoy the episode.
All right, let's get into the film review. We're going to be concluding 2024 month with Brother Dustin's pick. Dustin, you want to announce it and why you picked it?
Yeah. So I said at the end of last week's episode, I saw a new A24 movie was coming out back in December. Saw a trailer for it. It looked kind of funny. And I had a feeling it was my brand of nostalgia. So I was like, yeah, let's go see Y2K. And it did not disappoint. This movie's a lot of fun, a lot of nostalgia, which Brian and I are going to get into, and you guys may as well. But Brian and I know it's already been put out there in the chat. We have some issues with their nostalgia. It's not 100% era accurate, but that's okay. I forgave it because, man, this movie is so fun. There's a lot of creative kills. It's a pretty creative storyline. So, yeah, it's not an Oscar winner, but Patrick Bryce, look out for the interview coming soon. He mentioned about one of his movies. If you go into it knowing and accepting that it's going to be just this absurdist comedy, you can have a lot of fun with it, and that's what I did.
Yep, I'm going to piggyback right off what Dustin said. This movie is just fun. Like, there's some good kills. Like, I like the cast. Jaden Martell, he's from It, Knives Out, Mr. Harrigan's Phone. Like, he's been in quite a few horror movies. He's bouncing around doing some things. I enjoy the movie. I don't think it's anything spectacular, but I think it's got a decently high rating for me.
All right. First of all, this movie is stupid as shit. Like, the dialogue's not good. The story's clunky as hell. But my God, this was fun. And again, okay. I've said it a million times. Sometimes you just want to sit down, have some goddamn fun watching a movie. And look, my co-hosts fuck with me all the time about my age. Yeah, I'm older than everyone on this podcast. But y'all done fucked up and picked a movie right in my age group wheelhouse. See the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma. Danny, a.k.a. Rusty from Deadpool 2, literally says on his tombstone in this, born in 83. They're the class of 2001. They're juniors. That's your boy. I was a junior in high school during Y2K. They made this shit for me, guys. 1999, during which I would have and have also said the late 90s was probably the peak of humanity. So the nostalgia was off fucking charts for me. You posers talk about nostalgia with this one all you want to, but y'all were in elementary and middle school during this one. So I appreciate Dustin for picking this one for old Pawpaw here and listening to me talk about high school for the next hour. And you know what? If we all sit down to watch this movie, Christina Aguilera, she could switch me chairs so I can sit next to Carson Daly and Fred Durst and hear them argue over who she gave head to first.
Hey, Brian, I appreciate your kind words, but don't thank me. Thank A24.
Oh,
I know
thank you so much,
that you want to do that all the time anyway. Yeah. So
Hey, before you go, Mike, who allowed this guy to gatekeep nostalgia over here? Like, what is going on?
Got it. Sorry, posers.
Hey, what I'm saying,
I was 11.
Just because I was in the fourth grade, that's not my fucking fault. That's your fault for being old, you fuck.
I was 11.
I was I thought we were singing in color
Go
by
ahead,
Jimmy
Mike.
Johnson. Sorry. I mean, you said I was 11. Anyway. All right. Yeah,
11.
Nico knows.
Yeah,
Banger.
great song.
Hell yeah, brother.
Millie Bobby Brown was also 11.
I'm
Jesus
uncomfortable.
Christ.
Her character name
I
is
know.
11. What are you talking about?
It's just,
Yeah, I wasn't trying to take that either.
Man, fuck. Anyway. Okay. To the film. I agree with a lot of what Brian has said here. This movie is fucking dumb as shit. For an A24 movie that typically, I'm being kind, has a deeper theme, deeper message in its films, trying to say something with a lot of nuance and layers. This movie has fucking none of that, in my opinion. Maybe there's a little bit in there that I missed, but I don't see any deeper message here myself. But this movie is so much fucking fun. I absolutely love this movie. And Brian, you mentioned the nostalgia, and I understand where you're coming from. There is an age gap there for sure. And I know you weren't purposely trying to gatekeep the nostalgia, but I just want to be clear.
Because of how much of an assholes you guys are to me all the time about my
That's
age.
great.
So you know what? Fuck y'all
However,
nostalgia for this.
I want to be very clear about something. I grew up with a young dad who was into a lot of the stuff that this movie was portraying.
Nice.
And
Nice.
we were allowed to watch and listen to pretty much
not the
anything.
porn.
There was no barrier on our life. Like, I saw American Pie at 7 years old, dude. Like, I remember all of this shit, including Y2K. So there is a lot of nostalgia in this for me as well. I remember the height of Limp Bizkit, which I know me and Dustin talk about all the time. Shout out to the boys over at fucking Limp Bizkit, still killing that shit. I haven't told you guys yet, but I have purchased tickets to a Limp Bizkit concert coming up here in about 5 months. So can't fucking wait for that.
Woo!
Anywho, yes, sir.
Can't hide money.
And yeah, you know what? Fuck it. Yeah, I spent some goddamn money on Limp Bizkit tickets. That's what I did. Borrowed that shit from Nico. The point of the movie is there is no point to the movie. That's why I'm all over the place. And honestly, I don't normally rep other podcasts on our show here, but I listened to Dead Meat and Chelsea's review of this movie as well, and they kind of hit the nail on the head. When they were trying to review it, all they really did was list a bunch of nostalgic shit they remember. It really wasn't anything about the plot and what was going on in the film. It's like, I remember that. I remember that. I remember that. And that's exactly
That's my review.
what my fucking notes are too, because the plot is irrelevant. There's a couple emotional scenes, obviously Danny and, and Eli and that friendship that kind of, carried throughout. Not enough of the film, by the way. Spoiler on my thoughts on that. But other than that, this movie's just a whole lot of fucking fun. I mean, how ridiculous is it that these old Windows computers are taking over the world? A scene straight up out of the Trapper Keeper episode of South Park with all the connectivity that they do. It's fucking great. I love it. I had so much fun with it, and I'm so glad we got to rewatch it again. Shout out to Dustin, not A24, for mentioning this in December. I got to watch it not on New Year's Eve, but the day before New Year's Eve, so it was a lot of fun.
All right, let's get into the scene by scene. And Lord bear me strength after my performance last week. Goodness. All right, the film starts with a slap of nostalgia as Eli logs on to dial-up internet using AOL to watch Bill Clinton speak on computers in Y2K. He IMs his friends and peeps the new site Laura has created. Eli asks what she's doing for New Year's Eve, but she's already logged off, and he makes a new burnt CD as we get a unique title card. I love the title card. He gets dressed for school and goes down to breakfast where his parents ask him questions about his plans and French kissing. Eli takes off on his bike, and little kids give him the shape of an L on their forehead, if you know, you know, as he passes by. He gets to his bro Danny's house, who is super sweaty. He must have been watching Cops. We see he's been doing Taibo with his mom, though. And anybody else have to do Taibo and PE, or is it just me? Eli gives him the condom back, asking him to not leave it under his pillow anymore. Danny scolds him, "Let your cock breathe and stop holding out for the one popular girl." The two take off to the video store, and damn it, man, do I miss these days. They go and chat with Garrett, the hipster, who asks if they want to hit up the champagne room. They blaze up some of the marijuanas, and Garrett says that good kush be making him think of crazy shit as Danny goes to outer space. Garrett gives him an invite to come trip balls at the old factory before the bros leave. Farkas and his crew pull up, and they film while they roast Danny for his weight. Farkas starts rapping, spitting hot fire. They walk off and into a gas station. Danny pushes Eli and makes him go talk to Laura. The two chit-chat about New Internet as I'll Be by Edwin McCain, in my opinion, one of the greatest one-hit wonders ever plays. Laura spills the tea. She and Jonas broke up as her crew runs out the store with all kinds of beer and 40s. Eli watches on smitten until Danny tells him he needs to pay for the chips. This fucking guy. All right, Bryce, opening set of scenes. What do you think?
I got a lot. All right, so listen, I wanted to touch on this. Dustin mentioned it. I'm sure that they wanted to fit a few years of stuff into this movie for nostalgic reasons, but I'm going to point out, and I'm sure, like I said, Dustin will too, all the shit that I know for a fact is wrong. But again, it's still okay. I get it. They kind of incorporated everything from 95 to 2000 here and what's supposed to be just 99, but I do get it from a movie standpoint. First of all, the shots of America Online here, everything here is perfect, although I would say they captured an earlier version of AOL. By 2000, it was a little sleeker looking. On the IMs, it had an ad for AOL 5.0. I know for a fact that I used to go to Blockbuster and get the free install discs, and we're on at least 7 by December of 1999. Fun fact, my parents still have and use their AOL email addresses in the year of our Lord, 2024. Also, I'm going to call this shit out too. D-Dragon 1983 uses the spelling of cum as C-U-M to actually mean coming over. Nobody did that shit back then. Cum still 100% meant splooge. I remember writing sex notes back and forth with my 30-something-year-old coworker at my place of employment in 11th grade, so trust me on that one. And again, you don't want this dialogue from me? Don't pick something so in my wheelhouse of life. I'm sorry.
Counterpoint. I think that's just them being teenage boys, and he spelled it like that to be funny. I don't think
maybe.
he was.
But nothing was ever talked about it with it, and so I didn't take it that way. So, okay, I'll give you that. Anyway, I'm not sorry for what you're going to hear this episode. I'm also in the Hall of Fame in my high school for the class of 2001 for web design and the business department, and that wasn't a humble brag. I say that to say that this interpretation of web design and how Laura is a genius level at it in computers is legit. She's damn good for 1999. They did a good job there. Speaking of Laura, by the way, they apparently originally had Jenna Ortega for this role, but scheduling conflicts, she couldn't do it. I love Rachel Ziegler, Hunger Games, Shazam 2, by the way, both of which are guilty pleasures of mine. Sorry, sue me. But she also looks like a doppelganger for Lucy Hale. Nico brought it up. Good to see Bill from the It remake again. Jaden Martell's second appearance on the show literally looks exactly the first time that we watched in 2017. Looks the same. Burning that CD. Would have liked to have seen a little Napster on there. Probably couldn't because of some licensing thing, but LimeWire was 2000. Napster was June of 99, so it would have been right in the wheelhouse there. Wow on Alicia Silverstone. I guess I hadn't seen her in anything in a while. It did not look like her at all. But did anyone else get Ted Wheeler vibes from the dad? Just throwing that out there too. Not sure we were blowing it in N64 cartridges ever. I'm pretty sure that was stopped with the original Nintendo too, but I was a PlayStation guy at this point, so someone else can maybe speak to that. I want to shout out Julian Dennison
Definitely
as
blew
well.
in the 64 cartridges, by the way. Definitely did.
I was going to say, for sure.
I was going to say, I can't speak to that. I was a PlayStation guy, but I never saw that. So glad you corrected that. I want to shout out Julian Dennison as well. Nico and Mike remember him from Deadpool 2. He's great in this movie. His character was taken from us too soon. I will say that too. And last nitpick, and I'll shut up. And yeah, I was a junior in high school. We had the fucking internet. So yeah, it was dial-up, but the dial-up was faster than this in 1999. And here we go. Yeah, I had porn, so I'm going to critique the porn. Ready? Shout out my buddy's older brother, Matt Knowles, for this one, by the way. But the porn pic that you would get, by the way, out of an AOL message board, loading a little at a time, was legit. Although it was that way in 1995, not 1999. I was in middle school, so take my word for it. We would go to the Knowles house because his mom worked nights, and his older brother, Matt, would get some Pam Anderson pics and all the Playboy scans back then. Again, though, that was 1995, 96, and I was in middle school. Stuff was a lot faster in 99, so that was not true to the time. They also had porn videos on his hard drive, so that was an impossibility in 95. It would have literally taken days to download. It wouldn't be possible with someone picking up the phone and kicking you off AOL. So, yeah, movie, you can't have it both ways. Either he has porn videos on his hard drive, or the nudie pics are loading faster. Sorry, not sorry for the review. I have more nitpicks on the set of scenes, but I'll throw them into the next set of scenes. The biggest being the video store. I'll throw that in there.
What
Really
just
quick.
happened?
What the fuck just happened? Also, the biggest takeaway I had from that, Brian, is you're in middle school in 95. Fucking you were middle school when when Monday Night Nitro started? You old fuck. Anyway, so okay, man. I remember AIM. Everybody remember AIM? I remember using AOL Instant Messenger. Great fucking time there. Brian, maybe you just had better, richer internet than I did. My video quality back then was the drizzling shits. Okay, took a really long time, but we used, sometimes we'd use those AOL discs. Oh,
same.
But, yeah, with the little plug. Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. Maybe mine was just ass. Little Fat Boy Slim here to open us up. Great fucking song. A Surge reference. By the way, I fucking miss Surge. Surge was a tasty soda, tasty beverage.
Yeah.
I'm not a big soda guy either. Like Surge and Mountain Dew Code Red are the only two that I live and die by. Those are fucking phenomenal sodas. Something that, we've lost as a society is people don't even use XOXO anymore. Not that I've seen. Not in this way. The mean hugs and kisses, like he took it. It's kind of wild. I never thought about that. It's almost lost from common nomenclature. This style of computer resonates with me, though. We had this exact style of computer in our libraries back in the day in elementary school, because again, I'm younger than Brian, and so I thought that was fun. Him using the toys and models and stuff, all that went over my head, gluing that on. I don't really understand that. Anyway, Alicia Silverstone is here, one of the most popular people of her time in the 90s because of Clueless, as if. So that was a nice cameo. I appreciated her being the mom. Man, riding around on your bike, seeing fucking kids playing in the yard. What a fucking time to be alive, fellas. Here we are, sitting on our ass, recording a podcast, making fun of kids today that are sitting on their ass, recording a fucking podcast. So I love that we get to be critical in this way. Anyway, I'm just saying, man, I actually miss playing outside. Any chance I get to go outside and do something, I typically take that now because I miss it. Okay. I love that we know that it's New Year's Eve. My guy's family here still has the wreath on the door. Brian knows what's up. You can't just throw it back into the fucking, the attic after Christmas is over. You got to let it simmer. You got to let it hang out. We went through all the work to put this shit up. Might as well let it sit out till after New Year's, man. I'm just saying.
Counterpoint. I don't even put a wreath or a tree up.
Well, if you
don't
don't put it up, then you have no reason to take it down. But since I live in my house with my wife, we will be putting that shit up, and I will be putting it up early, so I don't have to take it down so goddamn early for no reason. Their handshake was lame as fuck. Just throwing that out there. It's a bunch of fucking losers. Anyway, I remember hot moms being a thing at the time too, like making fun of your friends for having a hot mom, talking about what you want to do to her. Yeah, man. So, and she was fucking Tybo. What a fun little reference that I completely forgot about. I remember those videos. Mom had one of those back in the day. So a little Tybo never hurt anybody. And here's where I mentioned it, Brian. I do remember blowing on my N64 cartridges and my Super Nintendo cartridges as well, which my Super Nintendo, fun fact, my original one, I have one of those mini boxes where you can upload all the games if you jailbreak it. I have one of those. But my original Super Nintendo still fucking works and still fucking runs. And if you put a regular game into it, it will play. But you do have to blow on the cartridge. So fun fact here. I will say some of this badge conversation that Eli and Danny have feels like filler. Like, I'm not saying that's not how guys talk. I don't care to hear it from them, quite frankly.
Reminded me of Superbad.
Yeah, well, this movie's very Superbad-esque, right? Very, very a Superbad in that era. Like, that's definitely what I took away. So that's a great point, which, by the way, was Superbad released, like 06? So it's not even that long after this movie's supposed to be taking place. That's tough. That's tough. We're old. We're getting old. Okay. Flagpole Sitta. Great fucking song. Shout out to Harvey Danger for that. Awesome fucking tune. Video stores. I miss video stores. We've talked about this a lot. I've been told to support cinema, but what I really wish I could do is support video stores, because I would do that if they still existed. I know I would, because I miss that feeling of walking into one and grabbing. And shout out to come on, man. Come on, man. That's not that bad. You're tripping me up. The Flintstones VHS was a nice callback to have sitting there, because I too had the Flintstones VHS back then, so that was fun. They smoke weed here in this set of scenes, and I know Brian, I know you were in high school. I know you guys were probably smoking weed, or at least your friends were, or you knew people that were smoking weed. It was not as accessible and it was still seen as very illegal, very wrong, and very dirty at the time. I remember as a kid it being everywhere to not smoke pot. Like it was still a big no-no then. Again, my man Fart Ass, as he's called later so eloquently, being a dick here but nice in season 4 of Stranger Things is hilarious to me. Just completely opposite characters. These bullies were way nicer than late 90s, early 2000s bullies were. Buddy, they censored their language for sure. There was another censoring in the next set of scenes. I'm like, no way would he have censored it. Although these are kind of bars that Fart Ass is spitting, right? I mean, that wasn't the worst rap I've ever heard. Shout out to Edwin McCain. I agree with you, Nico. One of the best love songs of all time. Last nip, and this is the only nitpick I have because I'm having so much fun. They stole the worst fucking liquor ever. Is that that's a fucking Mad Dog 2020? Jesus Christ, man. Steal something else. Good God.
Yeah, we opened the movie with that beautiful logo, A24. I mean, I love it already. I love this movie already, just off rip. Then we get nostalgia across our faces immediately. Dial up AOL, take me back. Actually don't. It was slow and sucked, but life in general was so much more full of hope. Shout out to Surge being included on the school's website. I used to drink that stuff like it was going out of style. Turns out it was. As someone who rewatched all of that 70s show last year and also binge watched all of that 90s show, I respect the Kelso action figure. Sidebar, shame on Netflix for canceling that 90s show. I was having fun with it. Some of the nostalgia in the movie is misplaced, like Brian mentioned already, but I don't think he touched on this one. The Enron scandal wasn't until October of 2001. So the dad talking about Enron after seeing something on the cell phone, that doesn't make sense. Also, I'm not sure how likely it is that he would be getting the news on his cell phone in 1999, but I couldn't verify that. Well, I looked in Japan, certain phones were able to get news updates, but like that didn't look like he seemed like he was reading. He even said, I can get the news on this thing. I don't think that's accurate for 99. The dynamic between Eli and Danny, they're very believable as best friends. More great nostalgia with Eli blowing into the N64 cartridge. Mike, you mentioned you're definitely blowing in N64 cartridges and Super Nintendo. I believe that you'll blow anything.
Okay, so first of all, go fuck yourself, Brian. But second of all, I actually think if I'm with you guys on something, you guys are nostalgia experts. Okay. You two, pretty sure the dad has a Palm Pilot, which was a thing then. And he could have gotten his news on the Palm Pilot. 100%. 100%.
Okay. That's fair,
know.
but he wasn't getting no Enron news.
No, he wasn't getting Enron news. That part is completely off base. It's like 3 years after this. I'm just saying, if that looked like a Palm Pilot to me, could definitely get your news on there. That's what it was for.
Yeah, I mean, you're all right. I do remember Palm Pilots. Shout out to Danny for wearing the N1 shirt. I was always going to love this movie. They made it for me, for Brian, for people who grew up in this era for sure. This movie rental place. I saw the Flintstones, Billy Madison, Basketball, Dudley Do-Right, Big Daddy, Private Parts, all on VHS. Great. But more importantly, I saw Never Been Kissed on the shelf, so technically David Arquette is in this movie. At least he's in the movie's universe. Love it. But I also spotted Mr. Deeds, Chicago, and Scooby-Doo, which came out in 2002, so that's a bummer. Not every detail of the movie was accurate. But that's with me looking very closely at this movie rental store, so I can forgive it. Garrett cracked me up. What a character that guy was. When they came out of the video store, I got major Superbad vibes there with the bullies. But they were so much worse than the bullies in Superbad. He freestyled. So cringe. Eli is painfully awkward when he tries to talk to Laura. Yikes. But I'm loving the movie so far.
Well, listen, you're talking about the video store. First of all, Blockbuster, goddamn man, Blockbuster, 24-hour Walmarts, $1 McChickens. We really had it all in the 90s, man. But as a very big video connoisseur of the time, and one of my friends working at Movie Gallery, 1999 video stores, at least around me, were pretty much full of DVDs at this time, and they were fading out VHS.
Yeah.
I mean, the video store was hopping in almost all VHS. I mean, to me, that's no chance, because as a matter of fact, in July of 1999, I specifically remember using most of my birthday money, which was about $100, and buying 3 DVDs from Movie Gallery for $100. $30-something a piece. Blair Witch Project, Scream, and Varsity Blues.
So
And that's like that's freaking pocket that's freaking pocket money to you now, Brian. Go ahead, Dustin.
I remember 99 because that's when Blair Witch Project came out, right? Was that 99? I know for a fact that my friend Rusty and I, we went to the movie gallery, actually, in Sweetwater, Tennessee, and we rented the Blair Witch Project and the Water Boy, and they were VHS. And I remember that detail specifically because when the scene when the Water Boy, when Coach Klein throws the paperweight out the window and hits Colonel Sanders, we rewound that scene at least 10 times and watched it over and over. We were crying, laughing. And it was, rewind on VHS. Now, I also don't know if that's because we were small town East Tennessee. I didn't get my first DVD player until my freshman year of high school, which would have been 2002. So, and I do know other people had DVD players before me for sure, but I didn't get my first one until 2002. In 99, I was still heavy in the VHS game.
It kind of sounds like Brian grew up with wealth. That's what I'm hearing.
Well, that's what I'm hearing.
And I did have a PlayStation, and PlayStation would play DVDs.
I had you are right about that. I had a PlayStation 1 as well.
A little bit of wealth there is what I'm hearing, Brian. Go ahead.
Wait, actually, no, the PlayStation 1
privileged white
games,
cis man.
The PlayStation 1 games were CD. PlayStation 2 were made on DVD.
Yeah, I always watched on my PS2 when I got it.
Yeah.
Which I think came out the next year. I think it was like 2000 or 2001 when PlayStation 2 came out. It was close.
See, I thought it was 01 or 02. I don't know. I could be wrong.
All right. This has been a hell of an episode already. All right, Eli and Danny are watching Junior until they both complain of their night plans. Danny calls him a pussy until Eli breaks into his parents' liquor cabinet and they start drinking. Fuck it, dude. Let's go. The bros dap up, drink, vibe, and get dressed to go party. They make it to the party and say Kelso, the action figure, is going to be their guide. The place has every type of partier there as they post up and feel the party out. Eli puts his new burnt CD in and plays the thong song by Cisco. Danny takes over the party singing, dancing, and the vibes are immaculate. Eli sneaks away and sees Laura posted alone and makes convo. They're interrupted by the kid Leroy, who asks if he likes Laura. He says don't go for her, she's a dud, and Bangkok's him. If you know, you know about that. Farkas makes a video of his crew saying they were getting drunk and high. He and CJ talk about music. The pretentious guy hates on Fred Durst. He only likes underground music that he knew of first. Danny calls Eli over, and Danny starts telling girl stories and offers him the condom to use on his new girlfriend. Eli walks away from Danny. Fuck you, man. Eli spots two folks having sex and walks away when he's caught. The New Year's Eve countdown happens, and Kid Leroy kisses Laura. Eli is sick. Danny spots him after making out with a chick, and Eli confesses he feels like a nobody. Suddenly, the lights go out and start surging. The dishwasher acts weird, and we hear screams from upstairs. They go in the room with the couple having sex, and we see Aiden is dead. Raleigh says the bed launched him. Eli gets roasted more for drinking piss until a battery-powered car enters the room. The computer engages and it grabs hairspray and a lighter, igniting Bro's head on fire. You've got mail. All hell breaks loose as we find more and more dead bodies on the ground and other people getting killed in very horrific ways. Eli, Danny, and Laura make it upstairs trying to get into another room, and they watch Riley get killed by a drill saw contraption. Danny squares up with it and stomps it with Tybo moves. Hell yeah, brother. Farkas bangs on the door, demanding it be open as Eli tells Laura they have to go. Brian, this next set of scenes, what do you think?
My favorite set of scenes right here. Fun fact, I went to the movie theater with my next door neighbor's family to see Junior in elementary school. Why are these boys, why are they trying to watch newly released American Pie or Varsity Blues or something with nudity at this time? Because it's crazy. They're in 11th grade. They're very obviously horn dogs that's been established in this movie. Junior is a wild pick. Speaking of wild, chugging vodka out of the bottle like this, god damn. These dudes aren't going to be able to walk to the party, much less go. Eli weighs $120. But anyway, with that said, this house party is fucking awesome. I always saw these in 80s movies. I always wanted to go to one, but it was more like bonfire parties here. Anyway, this is my favorite set of scenes, like I said, in the movie. I can't speak to realism because I think this is more of a geographical thing, but this just wasn't my scene for me. But this was more like a college type event, not high school in my day and age. But anyway, D is fucking awesome in this set of scenes. Like, he made me smile with his thong song dance, which sounds weird when I say that out loud, but you have to see the movie. Let me tell you, I died laughing when we were shown Corey spitting game with a full-on boner. Yeah. And I guess I still don't even know the relationship dynamic with Laura and really fucking anyone, because Soccer Chris is an ex-boyfriend, right? Like her latest one. By the way, he looks like a junior in high school, so I'm glad they cast him opposite of Eli, who is also realistic in my opinion, but he looks a little young. But Soccer Chris, and then later we get Jonas. Can somebody explain to me, like, is she just hooking up everywhere? Or, I mean, I don't know. Look, seriously, at this point, I was wondering why I was watching a comedy right now, but then it went and pulled a From Dusk Till Dawn, and I loved it. Bravo, by the way, to the necklaces these guys were wearing, the beach puka shell necklaces, perfection. Anytime I went to the boardwalk on Pensacola Beach, I would get a new one to go with my yellow board shorts and white Oakleys. Let's go. CJ did truthfully remind me of this new Watch Movies Dustin that we've got, though, when he names all of these movies nobody's ever heard of and says he doesn't give into this mainstream bullshit. I went, oh, that's Dustin. No, I'm just checking. But anyway, I truthfully
Let me tell you something.
Okay, Shane. Anyway, I truthfully thought that I was watching a comedy before we get hit with this absolute From Dusk Till Dawn bombshell of a turn of events. Like I said, and my God, I love it so much. American Pie meets sci-fi, B-movie horror. I'm turned all the way on for this film.
Oh, brother, relax. I've been told that I've been too loud, so I'm going to try to talk a little quieter now.
Ooh, NPR.
Yeah, buddy. So, the reason these two were watching Junior is because they're two fucking losers. That's why they were watching Junior on New Year's Eve, like a bunch of fucking weirdos.
All right.
What? Sounds like I'm listening to a sex hotline.
1-900 hotline. God,
Yes.
It reminds me of Sweaty Balls.
Yes.
I mean, this is just my talking voice. I don't know what to tell you. Okay. So anyway, I too had the puka shell necklaces, and I also enjoyed wearing them to the beach and other places, which is kind of stupid because they only really belonged at the beach in the summer, and I'd fucking wear them up to the mall and shit like an idiot. So anyway, back in the day, we used to be able to call our friends pussies. I remember that. We still should be able to call our friends pussies when they're being one. So shout out to that. I missed that time. Tub Thumping, fucking banger. Awesome song by Chumbawamba, one of the GOATs of all time. Beautiful tune there. Riding bikes at night when no one gives a fuck, when you could do that without fearing for your life. Elite. Shout out to this song, which maybe was a deep cut. I don't know if anyone else knew. This is Candy by Mandy Moore. Shout out to one of those pop songs right there, buddy. Great fucking tune. Missing you like candy. Yeah, you are, because you're fat and obese. No, I'm just kidding.
She is
Mandy
not.
Moore.
You take that back.
No, I was going to say, no. I wasn't referring to her. Mandy Moore is absolutely gorgeous. The spin around the room at the house clicks crack me up. How they keeps going to each different little group with a different song. I love that. Shout out to Korn, especially this song. Great song there.
Hey, I do feel like during that scene they missed the chance to put in Zoot Suit Riot, because I feel like that guy, or maybe that wasn't out then. Was that out then? I don't.
I have
remember,
no idea if it was out then.
I felt like that they missed a shot with that. Sorry.
My man, Fat Guy Danny, has a lot of game, a ton. He's spitting that shit. He has way more machismo than Eli sorry ass does. By the way, did they pull a Now Volume 1 CD out of that CD changer? Is that what I fucking saw right there? I had that shit. You damn right I did. You're going to hear my dogs barking. Just ignore them. Thong Song, also a banger. Shout out to Cisco. He had one other song called Unleash the Dragon. It was fucking ass. This song is not. One thing I want to say, and I think we can be fully transparent about this, ain't no way in 99 all those white people in that room are bleeping out the N-word for themselves in the Thong Song. Not a chance. Zero chance in 99 they're doing that. Nope. Not buying it. You'll never convince me that they would have. They would not have done that. House parties were the time of our lives. We didn't even know it. How good we had it back then during the house party era. I gotta agree with Eli here. I wouldn't want the piss story told either. We don't have to go around repeating that. I don't care how drunk you are. Like that shit ain't fucking funny, dog. Fuck you. Did anyone else? And Brian, you probably did because you like dad jokes probably even back then. Did anyone else do the expired milk joke when the millennium changed over? Man, that milk's been in the fridge since last millennium. Anybody else do that? Or that food, those eggs have been in there since last millennium. Oh, we did in our house. We thought that shit was hilarious. I love that this guy just shouts out. That's why, again, the writing is sloppy at best. Y2K is real. I was like, yeah, you're fucking hammered, buddy. You keep drinking. It's all going to be all right. It's all be over soon. I love that they call Soccer Chris. It's fucking awesome.
Me too.
So,
Me too.
back in high school, that is kind of how you identified people, right? Oh yeah, she's a cheerleader. Oh yeah, she's whatever. So that's kind of fun. I the Jeep / gel comment, man. I love that. I had that kind of the LA Looks hair gel. Y'all know the kind I'm talking about, a little yellow or green or blue. I had that back in the day. Then I really do like how all hell breaks loose. It's pandemonium. A lot of kills very quickly start to pop up here. Shout out, and I think everyone on this show likes this movie. The little Varsity Blues VHS that comes flying at you. Yeah. Fucking hell yeah. Great. Oh, sorry. Let me get back to being lower. Great fucking movie, Varsity Blues. Shout out to me not wanting your life. One of the worst kills we've ever had on this show is the fucking dick in the blender. That is not going to get it done. That is literally, spoiler, my least favorite kill of this whole movie because I felt the pain deep in my soul. I like Danny's line here of don't admit that we'll lose. I can't do a New Zealand accent, but you know what I mean. The fact that Laura just basically like, yeah, maybe I will stay with him. Well, geez, don't fucking throw us under the bus like that. Also, last thing, I wouldn't let Farkas in. I don't know what they were doing. I got his ass out of the garage. Go ahead, Dustin.
Yeah. First of all, you guys have mentioned those Puka Nakua necklaces. I never wore one of those. That
necklace
must have been a different brand of white than me. But very realistic reactions when they drank the liquor. Before you get used to drinking, it's harsh, and they acted it perfectly. Especially Danny. Like I got to laugh when you could tell he was struggling. He's like, "Oh, it's so smooth." Their montage getting ready for the party is hilariously ended by the reveal of how slow they were going on the bike. That reveal was great to me. I would be pretty conflicted at this party. I would want to be where Korn and Limp Bizkit were playing, but I wouldn't want to be around those kids. Nah, I'm good. Danny and Eli, so well acted. Danny is this outgoing guy who doesn't care what people think, and he gets the party lit, but Eli is much more reserved and awkward, so the great dynamic there. Soccer Chris, such a douche. Almost makes me want to remove all the Kid Leroy songs from Apple Music. Brian, I don't think that Laura was, spreading it all around. She just broke up with Jonas, and now she's at this party. She's newly single. It's a new year, so Soccer Chris swoops in. That's how it was in my high school.
I thought
she's single?
Chris,
I'm in there.
I thought Soccer Chris was an ex-boyfriend too. Okay, all right, I got you.
But Danny peeing in Eli's coat, that's bad enough. But telling everyone, nah, man, we'd have to throw hands. There's no coming back from that. That's too far. And I know it felt like a knife to the heart seeing Soccer Chris kiss Laura. I probably would have left. Like I would have not seen everybody die because I would have been gone. Then the action kicks off. Y2K is for real. We get our first kill, and that's when I realized, hey, I can pick this movie. I thought this was just going to be a comedy, but I was like, oh, there's killing in this movie. I'm definitely picking it on the show. We see the toy Jeep roll down the hall and then enter the room. We're in for a crazy ride. The Jeep is all unthreatening at first and just kind of lingering, but then it makes a blowtorch and melts dude's face, and then it's just pure chaos. People die left and right. The funniest, albeit least likely of which, is the VHS being ejected and hitting the girl in the face. That wouldn't have killed her, but we have to assume she died. We never see her again, so come on. The whole scene is hilarious. One guy gets his pecker wrecked by a blender. Danny's "don't admit that we're losers" line, that was great. And then Soccer Chris is tripped up by the dishwasher and goes headfirst in the microwave. It's really creative and funny stuff here. Danny using his Tybo to take out the RC car was great too. I mean, what a set of scenes.
All right, my biggest qualm with this whole movie is the Kid Leroy does not deserve Tate McRae. But anywho, I don't know how he pulled that. Like, what the hell is going on with these girls? All right, Danny asks what the hell is going on as they all begin debating what's happening. Laura says it's a bug, AI consciousness, and goodbye human race. Laura says, let's go to the old factory. There's no computers there, and Jonas will know what to do. Danny snaps on Farkas, tired of the bull jive. They hear cries of agony at the door and all grab skateboards and rollerblades to leave. Danny is attacked by a robot through the door that grabs him and impales him through the chest. Sad moment as Eli watches his best bro die. And I was sad too because Danny's funny as hell. He hands him the condom one last time before he fades away. They get the garage open and they take off. Farkas sees a fallen basketball goal and goes to grind it, but dies a very sudden death falling and bashing his head. They see planes crash in the sky as a giant robot walks out the garage door in pursuit. It grabs the pager, I believe, from Farkas and absorbs it into its own self, letting out a roar. Eli smashes his boombox and says he needs to smash Ash's camera too. She refuses, speaking of how long it took to save for it, saying that's racism against the machines. The remaining four take a breath as Eli shares some of the strong water with Laura, and CJ asks Ash if she has any weed. They both confess they got baked for the first time on these swings, telling their stories. CJ tells her she has weak flow and raps some weak shit himself. Eli tells him, let's keep moving to the factory, curious if they'll still have graduation. Come on, man. Laura is called boring for not liking music and for not actually being nice. They get to the edge of a cliff and see everything on fire. They make it to the factory as Garrett greets them. He hugs Eli, hearing the news of Danny's passing. He shows him their pad, the collective, as Jonas appears hugging Laura. Some guitar gets played and they all vibe until Jonas asks Eli about school and says his body is built for long distance running. Jonas brings in a robot to everyone's fear until Eli recognizes that's his computer. He wants Laura to hack into it so they can metaphorically throw it out the window. Some pornography pops up embarrassingly. We see a video now of what's going on with the technology taking over the internet users now. The robots are planning on taking over the world. They're all in it together, a line Brian loves. The robot starts tweaking and gets free and grabs Laura. Eli tells the computer who Laura is and tries to convince the computer to let her go. Jonas gets knocked out and Eli goes to attack the computer until it flashes pics of he and Danny. But he collects himself and pours the bong water on the computer, killing it. Brian, that's the next set of scenes. What do you think?
You guys have made me hate that line, by the way. Look, I got a little bit on the last set of scenes still, so bear with me. But Mike mentioned about the name calling and stuff. Chris's blowout about calling him Soccer Chris cracked me up too. But then someone in the crowd saying, that's piss mouth. That fucking sent me. Like, I agree with you. I still call people this kind of shit. So what can I say? Shout out to Hot Doggy Dog from high school. My bad. But as soon as Laura picked up the phone and we heard the AOL network being used, the first thing I thought of was, well, she just kicked somebody off. But yeah, in that, one last thing about the last set of scenes, the montage of the kills made me have more questions than anything. Because the first thing I said when the video hit Madison was, oh, there's a Varsity Blues reference. But then I was like, that knocked her out? And then you guys are talking about killing her. Like, holy shit. And then I was like, how did Corey Flock get his dick in the blender and through his pants? Like, I was either like, I thought about that way too much, by the way. So I'm not even going to go into that. But there was great gore everywhere. And I kind of laughed at literally these people not caring about anybody getting killed. Like, Rally's death was cool too, but you couldn't have just moved your head a little bit. And I do love the dialogue, though. Hear everything from big nuts to just everything. It was a great set of scenes. My only problem, really, that I wish they changed about the entire movie was Dee's death here. Like, why not kill CJ? Like, he adds nothing to the group moving forward, in my opinion. Danny was literally the heart of the entire movie. I just think they fucked up with that. Script doctor that bitch, have CJ die here. Otherwise, the movie does hit its peak here to me and starts kind of going down with him. Shout out, though, to Mason Gooding. This motherfucker is in every damn movie that I've watched lately, I feel like. But I don't really care for his character in this. But anyway, you'll be happy to know that I don't have much the rest of this movie, except for little things here and there. But these first 3 scene breakdowns, this first half of this movie, I'm giving this movie a 9.5 right now.
Let's just take that and put it at the end.
Yep, that sounds good. Pause. You'll be happy to know this may be the most that I have. After that, it's pretty short because it's just a lot of fucking fun and chaos. First of all, fart ass here has one of the best insults I've ever heard. Called Laura Shitney Spears. That fucking is awesome. What a fucking name to call somebody Shitney Spears. That feels like something someone should have called me by now, but they haven't. So there you go. And I love when Danny basically, calls him fart ass and tells him fuck you or fart ass. I don't know. I think fart ass is way funnier. Sorry, I'm getting too loud again. And then Eli stands up behind him and says, it was Coke, bitch. Damn. You guys are the worst shit talkers of all time. I'm telling you, these two actually were fucking losers. That's all I'm going to say about that. But good for them. It doesn't mean you have to be mean to losers. Just they are what they are. I agree with you, though, Brian. I feel like we maybe killed Danny off too early. He was kind of the heart of the film. Now, it doesn't drag the film down entirely for me because we have so much character growth from the 4 that kind of stick around, in my opinion, that I don't dislike. I just wish that Danny was there the whole time. It does make the end of the very end of the film hit pretty heavy. Spoiler alert there. But it's one of the few emotional scenes all the way up until he gives him a fucking Durex, which is just hilarious. I'm sorry. I don't care. Like, I know we were supposed to be crying there, but he gives him a fucking condom on his way out over to the other side. That's pretty fucking funny. Then we finally hear break stuff, just a smidge though, because then we get Fart Ass's death, which, all right, it fell off the fucking skateboard. Jesus Christ. Okay. It's kind of a shitty death, but I'm glad he's gone. He's one of the worst characters. Fuck that guy. Honestly, this plane crash scene as they run into each other looks like something that happened in the news last week. So the time is a flat circle, man. Things keep happening over and over again. Planes crash every day right now. So if you're listening to this in 20 years, hopefully plane and flight travel has improved, because right now it fucking blows. The computer connecting to everyone, I mentioned it in the open, is straight up out of the Trapper Keeper episode of South Park, where Cartman gets a Trapper Keeper. It's smart. They send the robot back in time. It takes over and it starts connecting everything. I don't want to wait for my Trapper Keeper to be over. Fucking beggar. That Cartman almost ruined, but anything Cartman sings is fucking funny. Again, I kind of forgot to mention the Big Nut and Little Nut stuff that he called, that what's her name calls him, or calls Danny Big Nut. Nah, I think that's funny. By the way, Eli, this was your time. Laura put her hands around your stomach. That's practically being married in 1999, man. What are you doing? Don't waste time. Get after it, buddy. She feels safe and secure with you on the back of that thing. That's like racism against machines. Was that a Rage Against the Machine reference? I feel like it was. I think that was kind of a funny line. You can tell Laura, and this is deep. Maybe this is a deep look at A24. In the words of Dustin, A24 doing it again. Maybe there is a little bit of a deeper message here with the Laura character, because you can tell she's not quite as sad as everybody else is, because Laura didn't have any real friends. And she's not someone that lost any real friends and connections tonight like the rest of them have. I thought that was noticeable. By the way, anything they try to use, anytime they try to use a machine to scare the group, I don't think it works, because I'm not taking anything that's happening that serious so far. Again, the most serious scene in the film ends with a guy handing another guy a condom. So I can only take this shit so serious. Again, Laura, you doesn't like music. What the fuck you mean you don't like music? Everyone likes some kind of music somewhere down the line. You get I'm not buying that no one just doesn't like music. This also is this feels like a very meta line for Rachel Ziegler, the well-liked comment, and how that puts a target on your back. And sometimes you can say the wrong thing and it kind of totally bombs your movie that's about to come out. You can do that. So that feels like a very meta comment for her.
Sure can, Snow White.
Hey, no comment on that. I'm just saying that she's a hot rod in the media. I mean, she's very polarizing on both sides. So that's tough for her. Here's a question. We have people, Brian's kind of one of these. We have listeners as well that have kids in high school. Are popular kids and stuff like that still a thing? Like that hierarchy, is that still something that exists in the high school age today? I'd be fascinated to kind of break that down. I mean, I coached high school football, but really only paid attention to the football team on that. So I don't really fucking know. I mean, I didn't really know what the other students in the school were doing. So
again, that may be something that's more geographical than anything, but as far as the high school in my local hometown it's definitely not what it used to be. Like the jocks are not the popular running the school type of kids that they used to be.
21 Jump Street touched on this.
Video game nerds are running the thing, and you're absolutely right.
I've noticed that as well.
21 Jump Street did do it, and it was fucking right. And it's very correct. I thought it was a joke when I watched 21 Jump Street. It is not. It is the truth.
That one dude called Travis Hunter a lame because he was a football player. I was like, oh God, times have changed. That's
so
okay.
much. So
all right.
Well,
all right, I'll try to.
It's because he's a rapper.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll try to wrap it up here. Collective with a K cracked me up on the wall there. What was it about the late 90s, early aughts where we were just misspelling shit for no reason? We were using X instead of E for everything. Yeah, like all the time. Like, all right, man. Yeah, Mason Gooding is a handsome guy. I think we can all admit that. That's, typically his roles is he's handsome, muscular guy that's funny and witty and charming. So good for him. He's being cast in good stuff. Was busting out a guitar at a party like this, Brian, was that frowned upon back then as well? Because I feel like, someone busting out, like as someone who played at a lot of corners of parties, normally I was asked to. I never busted it out on my own because that is fucking annoying when people try to do that. So anyway, I thought the Bill Gates Apple line was funny. I feel like Stoner Man asking, "Is it all good if you've never met your dad?" was fucking funny. The porn, I thought that was really funny. The porn popping up was fucking hilarious. I actually really love this video where they talk about the machines taking everything over. I thought it was a good way to kind of exposition dump some stuff on us where we don't have to watch it happen. We just, this is the plan. This is what's happening. So I love the line of "suck these fuckers dry." I thought that was funny. Going back to me blowing everything, apparently. I love Eli's Roxy girl love confession here. I thought it was a sweet, touching scene in a movie that's kind of not me taking it very seriously. And last thing here, dick moved by the computer. What a fucking piece of shit to show him friends of his dead friend, or to show him a picture of his dead friend like that. Go fuck yourself, computer. That is the longest amount that I have. The rest is very short, I promise.
All right, yeah. So we get our main group of friends established here, and we get their plan. So we're progressing and shaping the story. That's solid. But we get the most shocking part of the movie. I definitely didn't expect to lose Danny this early. Reminds me of when I watched Game of Thrones for the first time. I thought, man, this Ned Stark, he's going to be a major player. I like him. He's a good guy. And then he dies like a few episodes in. It's like, what are we doing?
Don't ruin that for Nico. He was just about to start that one, too.
Yeah, I'll believe that when I see it. But Danny gives us one last funny moment when he gives Eli the rubber. Like, that's funny. Not sure why the group left a perfectly good bicycle in the garage. Laura could have had her own instead of riding on the back of Eli's. And I would have much rather have had a bicycle than rollerblades. Although Fark is trying to grind the basketball goal, that was hilarious. What an idiotic and unfortunate way to die. The machine monster walking out of the garage was intense and goofy at the same time. Perfect for this movie. When CJ and Ash are talking at the swing set, it's the stuff that makes you think and get over yourself. That reminded me of Brian's relationship with A24, so that was funny. I like the computer machine lurking in the woods there, but it does seem kind of unlikely. Like, why wouldn't it just attack? Why was it watching them? A great look at the city burning as they walk shows the magnitude of everything. And I'm so glad we catch back up with Garrett here. He's hilarious. What? I don't know. It's just everything he did was funny. And it was great how he said Jonas was gone, making it sound like he died. And he goes, "Oh, Jonas is back." That was really good stuff. Seeing Jonas, though, I knew off rip he wouldn't be dying. Best agent in the business. It was great seeing Eli protect his computer from Ash when she did the same thing for her camera. It's like they both want what's best, but they don't want to give up their belongings. Garrett continues to make me laugh when he wanted to search, "Is it all good if you never met your dad?" That was funny. And then he said he had a few of those viruses too, because it was porn. Like, that guy's just hilarious. Really touching stuff from Eli when he spilled his guts about Laura, but man, that was pathetic. That was pathetic. You cannot make yourself look that pathetic in front of a girl that you hope to get. That's the most unbelievable thing about this movie, is that he ends up getting her in the end. Spoiler alert. Right? She would have looked at him like, this guy ain't a real man. But anyway, we're moving along nicely here.
Ash watches the camera footage from the party as CJ joins her in the tent, questioning why she was cool with that treatment. She admits to hooking up with Farkas once and isn't sure if she likes guys. I was surprised by that.
Least surprising line of the movie.
CJ says puff puff pass and takes the marijuana joint. Laura tells Jonas she can't go back as Eli reminisces on the good times with Danny, putting the condom back in his pocket. Eli tells Ash and CJ, "We know where they're going to go. Let's go fight." Eli tells Laura that if Danny were here, he wouldn't hide, and the two start expressing their feelings to each other. Eli, CJ, and Ash are heading back to the school as Laura continues working on the computers. She makes a revelation and sees Eli's backpack as we cut back to the other three who are at a closed-down trail with a pursuing robot. CJ and Ash fight it off until Laura and Garrett arrive distracting it. Garrett takes hella pills and whips out 2 fighting sticks and squares up with the robot. The two joust each other with Garrett losing, getting his arm and head cut off. We hate to see it. They post up in a porta potty that's knocked down a hill as Back at One by Brian McKnight plays as Laura and Eli make eye contact, getting excrement and urine splashed on them. Good times. They get out the porta potty and all head to the stream to wash off. Eli starts tweaking on Eric Costin, tossing his shoes, and they start the trek to the high school again. Laura sings Danny Boy, and the group all join in until they make it to town. Eli goes into the video store to get something out the champagne room. They're stopped when an unseen person begins talking. Oh shit, it's Fred Durst, who tells him about his concert turning into a slaughterhouse. He's upset he hid like a coward and compliments CJ's flow. Eli and Laura want to go back to the school and infect the whole system with a Trojan horse virus. Fred Durst doesn't like the plan, conceding he's not the baddest man in music. Ash tells him she's nothing without Limp, giving an inspirational speech that we haven't heard since Herman Boone and Remember the Titans. She gives him the red hat, and he says, fuck it, let's break stuff. Go ahead, Brian.
I might have to clip that fuck it, let's break stuff and put it somewhere in her intro. That thing is fucking great. But fun fact about Ash's hat, that 5950 ball cap, New Era logo on the side, they didn't add that to the Major League hats until 2016. So just throwing that out there. Again, literally every scene, even in the tent here at the start of this between CJ and Ash, just insert Danny there. It's 100 times more funny. By the way, Laura hacking into systems, but like using that little 16-bit avatar of herself we saw at the start and it like punching blocks. That's not how any computer stuff works. That's not how anything. That's some wild shit there. Well, and also, our girl using a USB flash drive. Nah, dog, not 1999. Those things weren't even put on sale until late 2000, early 2001. And until 2005, most new computers came with a floppy disk drive still. So come on with that. But also, I'm glad you told me, Dustin, or mentioned it earlier, what the Kelso figure was from, because I loved that 70s show, but I also didn't watch that until way later in my life. So to me, that wasn't even in the late 90s. But you're right, and I'm so glad that was explained because I had no idea where the Kelso reference was coming from. So that makes it so much better, actually.
You know how I realized that it was in at that time? Because I remember when The Rock was on it. Because I'm pretty sure they talked about it on WWF Raw.
Him and Ken Shamrock.
Yep.
Also.
I mean,
and the Hardys.
I think I remember that episode, but I didn't start watching that, like I said, until way later in life. But the Matrix style fight with Garrett made me laugh. Like, it was just crazy enough with that dramatic music, and to get to that finish after the build up, it cracked me up. Like, none of these other dudes could have fucking helped. Goddamn. But the rest of this was just bizarre. Like, I still don't know how the porta potty broke the fence and why Brian McKnight continued to play after the robot and the backpack were out of earshot. And then the fucking shit spraying all over them was so absolutely goddamn disgusting. I also didn't get the Eric Costin thing, so as I guess I wasn't into skateboarding, so I was out of my realm too. But did I miss something? Like, how do we not have people mentioning how they all smell like giant turd the rest of the movie after this? Holy shit. Fred Durst saying, I mean, I talked about his quote, I'm going to clip. This one's even better. Him saying, Independence Day? Like, dude, I was crying laughing at that joke. Like, I'm 42. What's wrong? I'm still laughing at that joke. Independence Day. It's fucking great.
Okay. Sorry. Look, I think the idea of watching this back on her camcorder camera there was really fun. Like, I think, because, again, I miss that, again, we do everything on our phones, but that feeling of recording it and then watching it back, you just don't do it the same as we do on our phone, or at least I don't. Not in the same way. It feels different. But again, bad thing for Ash here. I mean, her friends kind of sucked. The way that Fart Ass did talk to her really did suck, and I'm glad somebody finally pointed that out. And I like the puff puff passing. I thought that, or the puff puff pass. Yeah, sorry, the puff puff passing. I thought that was pretty humorous. Again, and there's some Kelso reference there. All the computer stuff is over my head. I just don't know enough about it to know if it's accurate. I did notice the USB drive though, and I didn't think that it was because I was using floppy disk in elementary school all the way up to middle school. So, maybe I'm wrong about that, but I don't remember the USB drive being there either. I gotta say, man, I think this porta potty scene is funny as fuck, man. Like, I think it's fucking fantastic. The Brian McKnight being used for Back at One, which, side story on that song, I love when it's played at a first dance for weddings. I do. And so if we have any listeners, I really want to apologize ahead of time. Maybe skip ahead about 20 seconds. Sorry, let me talk real quiet for you guys. This song was actually wrote by Brian McKnight about his new TV arriving and him putting it up in his living room and installing it. So if that ruins the lovey-doveyness of it for you, I do apologize. he was writing a love song to his brand new 70-inch TV. So just throwing that out there. That's a fun fact. I don't ever do fun facts on that show or on this show, so you're welcome, guys. The shit flying everywhere.
I don't even have a 70-inch TV now.
What?
It's a 96-inch.
Yeah, buddy. Dude, you had DVD players in 1999. You're rich. Anyway.
Yeah.
Dude, I
Must've been
didn't
where all
have a
my money
DVD
went.
player till 03 because of the PS2, so I'm real broke, buddy. I thought the porta potty scene was fucking funny, and I said the same thing, Brian. How come no one has pointed out that we all smell like a bag of ass now? Like, we just completely pretty much ignore that shit. Like, all right, man, I don't care what you did to get that off, you'd still smell like just total dung, which is, gosh, just the worst. Especially when it happens, it splashes on their face right when they're about to kiss. That shit was fucking hilarious to me. And then we get my man Fred Durst, chocolate starfish, not out yet, but still, chocolate starfish, hot dog flavored water. I actually liked my pun earlier that I guess nobody appreciated. Instead of we're in this together, we're in together now. It's a Limp Bizkit song, so I thought that was fucking funny. Great song, by the way. Dustin, I don't know if you've heard of it, but he does a remix with Pharrell that's fucking awesome. You should hear that. I love it. Anyway, I love Fred Durst. I think he's great here. Great cameo, great pick, great choice. Very 1999. I mean, if we're just thinking about that year, we're talking about Woodstock 1999, where they tried to blame him for causing the mass chaos. So again, having him be the arbiter of the like mass, crazy shit that happened scene and him being scared by it. I think there's a little bit of truth in his writing there. Whoever wrote this character of Fred Durst for Fred Durst, I think there's a little bit of how he felt about the Woodstock stuff later on in life. That again was not his fault that they tried to blame him for. Some great one-liners, and the rah-rah speech was straight out of a fucking football movie. So I appreciated that from Ash. I thought it was awesome. And let's go fucking break stuff. Great song, by the way. Go ahead, Dustin.
Yeah, Eli, my boy, way too emotional when you talk to Laura here. Gotta think clearly, bro. Don't lose your cool. I did laugh when CJ said Jonas was handsome and ripped, and Eli said, "Come on, man, whose side are you on?" That was funny. Good stuff when Laura and Garrett showed up to save Eli, CJ, and Ash. But man, not my guy, Garrett. At least he went out in a funny way. Like, that's a funny death. Brian McKnight playing added to the hilarity of the scene. And then I think I'd rather die at the hands of technology than slide down a mountain in a porta potty, though. Like, nah, just kill me. And then if I had to slide down the mountain in a porta potty, I'd probably walk back up the hill and try to find a machine to kill me. There's no coming back from that. Eli acted emotionally again, though, mad at the situation, and now he's barefoot. Dummy. Brian, you mentioned the cost is like, it's funny. He's basically like, he bought those shoes to be a poser. And yeah, it's just, I don't even like skating. Like, idiot. But next we meet the star of the movie and the star of the late 90s, Fred Durst. Took the movie up a whole point for me in my rating. He cracked me up. He cracked me up when he wasn't immediately on board with the plan and called it stupid. That's good. Big pet peeve of mine here. The red Yankees hat. New Era didn't start stitching their logo on the sides of their hats until 2016. They didn't do that in 1999. I remember because it irritated me then, still irritates me now. I wish it wasn't there. So they could have digitally removed it. I don't know, but it really bothered me. Stood out more than any other era specific thing that they got wrong. That bothered me the most, but I'm still loving the movie.
That's like we brought this up before, but it's like the Under Armour uniforms bothered me so goddamn much on Friday Night Lights, that movie. Like, it drove me so crazy. I was like, They did not have fucking Under Armour back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, Limp Bizkit plays and they start wreaking havoc in the video store. They make it to the school and sneak past a ton of robots. Eli gets a spare key and they make it inside. They find the townfolk in an auditorium being assimilated. CJ sacrifices himself to save Fred Durst, getting CD shots into his face and skull. Ash lays a smackdown on the robot as Fred compliments CJ's flow again. The four press on, seeing more of the assimilation and finding the mothership. Laura asks Fred Durst to distract them. Tough crowd at first as Laura gets to the access point. She calls for Eli, who is watching the crowd. Eli speaks to the crowd about losing the one friend he had. He says, "We are our own enemy," saying if we come together, we can save the world. Fred says the speech made no sense to no one as Ash strums a guitar and Fred starts singing. Eli turns the spotlight on him and the crowd gets into the mood. The computer calls them human pieces of trash, denying them access to be hacked. It calls them slaves to technology already and gives them the D Generation X suck it. Laura uses a backdoor to the portal and begins hacking the fuck out of this system. She goes to plug in the device, but she's shocked. Eli has flashbacks and remembers the condom. He puts it on her hand to prevent shock as the computer tells him to enjoy his first fuck. And I laughed at that. She plugs it in and crashes the whole system. The mother base in the auditorium crashes and the crowd celebrates chanting Fred Durst's name. That's the end of that set of scenes. Up next is the ending. Go ahead, Mike.
Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh so loud, everybody. I love this scene when Break Stuff starts playing. It is one of my favorite Limp Bizkit songs. And I talked about Woodstock 99. I think I sent the video to Dustin. He'd already seen it. I know that for sure. But I just remember, like, if you really needed to, like, get pumped for something, I mean, really get pumped up to, like, do a lift or do a run or mow the yard, which I know Dustin was having those troubles for about 3 years there where he was cutting the yard and it was about to kill him. Goddamn Magic Johnson of cutting grass. Anyway, the fucking Woodstock Break Stuff live performance from Fred Durst and Limp Bizkit is insane. The sea of people jumping up and down is fucking awesome, so I highly recommend that. Anyway, I like this scene where they kind of destroy the video store. I'm going to just use, because it's an A24 movie, I'm going to make up some fake philosophical thing about how it's the death of the movie store. So that's what I'm going to do there. Shout out to CJ. Probably not my like favorite character in this film, but sacrificing himself so Fred Durst could live, which ties into the end, by the way. Spoiler alert on the signs that we see in the yard who people are voting for. It's always fun. So thank God for Fred Durst there. I will say, Laura does kind of go and totally redeem herself. That's Dumb and Dumber, Nico. Go and I think she's a really good character here, a strong character. She definitely has Eli's best interest in mind. I think she's starting to realize that she's also in love with Eli back. Haha, say it back. So good for them. Good for that pairing. Good for that couple. Good for Eli, because Danny would be proud, man. He would be so proud of this. Fred Durst here is fucking hilarious, man. Like when it's almost like nervous to get up in front of these people. The speech that Eli makes the speech they make is not great. And so they have to grab a guitar and Ash starts strumming and you can just see Fred's like, all right, it's like that scene in Longest Yard. This is Brucey's time to shine. That's what Fred seems to think there. It's like, okay, I got to step the fuck up here. And I actually love Ash and Fred Durst. You could tell, she's a total fangirl and it's acted really well. Like I am playing my favorite fucking song with my favorite fucking artist. And that is awesome. So shout out to that. And having them do Faith, which again, his version of Faith is significantly better than George Michael's, but we get the George Michael rendition here sung by Fred Durst. Like it's pretty fucking great. Again, this computer though is hilarious. It is so fucking funny. Dude, this is one of the funniest villains we've ever covered. Full stop. He is a savage with his words. I just think that his one-liners are fucking incredible. There's so many of them too. And again, I do like that we get this moment of relief anyway, where everything shuts down and they're heroes. I think it's really nice. So again, shout out to Fred Durst, and he's about to, at the end of the movie, be in political power, baby. Or that's what I'm voting for. That's what I'm voting for next time is Fred motherfucking Durst.
Seeing all the people zombified at the school, that's a good development. And it was funny seeing West Portland there after we heard Fred just talk about him. We get another shocking death when CJ got CD'd. The look at the final boss computer was crazy. That's a lot of technology and builds in drama for the showdown. When Fred Durst goes on stage and asks if there's any Biscuit fans and we hear no in the background, that was funny. I love that he was a good sport for this movie and just kind of like joked about it himself. I like that Eli's parents are here. Was wondering what happened to them, and we see that they're going to be involved in the finish, and it was a good touch having Danny's mom be there as well. And, when she heard that he's dead, I think that she should have showed some more emotions though. Like she barely she wasn't even crying. That's her son. I I got a good laugh when Eli gave this very passionate speech and it didn't make any sense to anyone. Fred Durst is like, I'm sure that made sense to at least one of you. I love that we get a Faith performance here. May or may not have sang it karaoke several times before, as well as break stuff. Kind of some of my go-tos. The computer security, he was a real jerk. Props to the DX nod though. I like that. Suck it. I love the rubber comes into play here. It was just a comedic touch earlier, but it's vital in the story, which is hilarious now. And I like how when he presented it to her, he's like, I've got this. And she's like, oh, okay. Like, that was funny. I'm ready for the finale.
All right, here's the ending. Eli reconnects with his parents hugging each other. He tells them of an insane night and he loves them. Danny's mother asks if he was there when it happened. He speaks highly of his friend and hugs her. Ash finds her camera and records Fred hugging Wes. Eli introduces his parents to the collective as Mama Alicia takes a hit of the marijuanas. Eli and Laura reconnect outside. Laura says she thought in the porta potty they kiss until he does kiss her now. Eli speaks awkwardly until they begin making out again. 5 years later, we find out Fred Durst is a hit musician and elected official. Eli and Laura are graduating college now, visiting Danny's grave, paying their respects. Eli leaves some action figures saying he misses him. Ash drives them away as closing time plays, another banger of a song. And we see the construct from earlier appear on her Walkman. The credits crash as we see a Danny Thong Song music video. Let me see that thong. All right, go ahead, Brian.
Nice.
Baby,
Damn.
that
Nice.
thong.
That's the most
Everybody
ridiculous.
goes.
It's the most ridiculous music video of all time, by the way. Just
Dude,
incredible.
that song is fire, though.
Oh, 100%. Cisco up and down the beach while people's asses are in the air. It's fucking insane. Insane
Say,
times.
ooh, that girl so scandalous with a look in the eye so devilish. All right, go ahead.
No, I don't even want to anymore, man. Like, let's end it with that. Well, the ending here, I kind of think the movie could have ended last set of scenes, if I'm kind of being honest. The rest of this goes a little long in the tooth for me, which is the second time I've said long in the tooth in this many weeks. But fun movie, though. If you didn't end it last set, though, maybe at least after he and Lori kiss. But the 5 years later was too much to me. The Fred Durst stuff was funny. I don't know if it was worth it. I'm sure I'm alone in that. I'm sure I go ahead and say that. I'm sure I'm alone in that. But I think that's where you could have ended it.
Really quick, I meant to mention it, I guess 2 sets of scenes ago, where they go around the room and they're or 3 maybe, where they go around the room and they're smoking pot. I know you guys kind of touched on it. That's straight out of that 70s show. I mean, the way they move the camera and everything, that is an on-the-nose reference. I put that in my notes. I don't know why I didn't say it. So there we go. Anyway, as far as the set of scenes go, I tend to agree a little bit, not fully, because I like everything that happens. I felt like as soon as everyone chanted Fred Durst's name, they could have kissed and we could have gone off into the sunset. However, I like that they do get to kiss. I know it's not, like you guys said, realistic that they may or she may fall for him, but I'm willing to forgive it. I think, hero saves the day. He gets the girl. He gets to kiss her. That's a tale as old as time, like a Disney film. So good for him. And again, I really love all the Fred Durst stuff. I actually like the 5 years later because a lot of that movie is so filled with that time period's nostalgia and things of the world. And we jump to 5 years and everyone looks just a little bit older. They've been through college. We're at Danny's graveside. I thought that was a nice, sweet touch there. But then we get in the car and there's iPods, which I thought was really fucking cool. One of the original iPods shown there. I thought that was a pretty cool touch to have, especially since they're listening to a lot of the same shit they were listening to in 2000. So I thought it was a fun ending. I think you could have ended it after the Fred Durst show and them kissing, but I mean, I thought the 5 years later was a solid touch.
Yeah, emotional scene when Eli talked to Danny's mom there. Good stuff with Ash finding her camera, no matter how unlikely it was, like of all the technology she has happened. Good to see Eli gets his girl. Happy ending to the movie. Even happier ending hearing that Fred Durst is a senator. Why not? Crazier things have happened in American politics. And we get one last nice touch seeing her iPod glitch out. Technology isn't done with us yet. However, I agree. This last portion of the movie, it didn't, it was just kind of a ha-ha, tongue-in-cheek moments. Nothing really, other than the iPod glitching. Could have done without it. I think that ending it after the day is saved and he kisses her, that would have been fine. So then, though, your runtime would have been about an hour and 15 minutes, I think. So maybe stretch out their journey a little bit more. Maybe give them some more battles and showdowns. Maybe kill some other inconsequential characters. I don't know. But overall, it was a fine movie. I had a lot of fun with it.
Very fun, very fun. Jump over to the old Instagrams real quick. We only got one comments. Dana Tucker commented, I must say, I would have never even heard of this movie if it weren't for y'all. And I enjoyed the hell out of it. This should be a super fun listen. I'll be honest with you. This has been fun to review it. So, yeah, I think people will enjoy listening back, to be honest. Book of Faces. Come on, Mike. Let's just sing closing time right now until closing time.
There's nothing on the Book of Faces.
One last call for alcohol, so finish your whiskey a bit.
We got with it. We got one on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter. Looking for an Oscar-worthy film? Oh, this is from that guy, Millhouse14108. He said, looking for an Oscar-worthy film? Don't stop here. But if you're looking for a lot of fun, comedy, cheese, and time period appropriate humor, and Fred F. and Durst, make some popcorn, grab a beverage, and be ready for a good freaking time.
Hell yeah.
6 out of 10 for nostalgia. Love the show, fellas. Appreciate that.
Hell yeah.
I miss that time period humor, by the way. I miss it.
Y'all got any fun facts?
I got 2. Oh, actually just one, because Brian mentioned that Jenna Ortega was originally cast. I'm kind of glad they didn't go with her. I mean, she would have done great, but I'm glad that Laura was cast how she was, and I don't even know her name. I didn't write that down, but it's good to
Rachel Ziegler.
Yeah, that's it. I think she did a great job. So I don't think that Jenna Ortega would have done anything to be like, oh, she was perfect casting. So why not give Ziegler a chance to shine? And I think she did fine. The last one I've got is, aside from Mason Gooding being in Scream 5, Alicia Silverstone was in Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed with Sarah Michelle Gellar, who was in Scream 2 with David Arquette.
All I can say, fellas, before we get into everything is, as late as we're staying up to do this show, tomorrow is going to be one of those days where you don't want to wake up. Everything is fucked. Everybody sucks. What? A motherfucking chainsaw. What?
Did you do the budget?
I ain't gonna lie. This is the first time in years I forgot to look up the fucking budget, guys.
I knew it.
Yeah. Yes. He
Vindication.
Forgot.
Wow.
Vindication.
He didn't forget to just say it. He forgot to do it.
Stopgap there, guys.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Yes.
It only took 3 years to get the way you wanted. You guys want me to fail. This movie did not make a lot of money, by the way.
Mike is getting treated like Eli by Danny right now, telling the piss story.
God damn, man. The fuck?
They just want to see you fail, brother.
Tired of this one goddamn time in the last 3 years. Go suck my ass. Okay? The budget was $15 million, and unfortunately, the box office was only 3.8. So that's pretty disappointing.
Thank God for the internet.
blame
A24. I blame A24 for that, because this movie didn't have a very wide release. I think it was only showing at one out of the 4 theaters here in Knoxville, and they were really focusing on getting Sing Sing back in theater for Oscar season, which I get. That's a fantastic movie, but this movie should have got more love. Hopefully, it gets a cult.
So really quick, it even has a little blurb in here on Box Office Mojo that it does have a pretty big following on Prime Video, like how many people have rented it already and spread it word of mouth. So it's probably going to live on a stream. At some point, it will be on a very popular streaming platform and people will watch it. And I feel like that's really where it's going to find its home for people like us of our age and Brian's age, which is about a whole decade older than us. Go ahead.
I'm surprised it's not on Max. I'm surprised it's not, because there's a lot of A24 on Max. But
maybe in the next month or so. They usually get it 4 or 5 months before they do that. Anyway, let's jump to our favorite kill, least favorite kill, and the rating. Dustin, you want to kick us off so you can jot these scores down?
Yeah, favorite kill, Garrett. I didn't want him to die, but it was hilarious. He was all hyped up and set for a major showdown, but he got his arm and head cut off by a hedge trimmer. That's just funny stuff. Least favorite kill, VHS tape to the face. I'm not buying it. No. Final thoughts in the rating. Look, it's not perfect. It's cheesy and it's corny, but most importantly, it's funny. It has creative kills and a creative concept. Enjoyability outweighs all the negatives for me. I give it an 8.25.
I'll go next. My favorite kill, Farkas, just because I can't stand him in this movie and I can't stand him in Stranger Things. But to be honest with you, I did laugh my ass off whenever he did that grind and just died so suddenly. Dude, that shit was funny as hell. But I really can't stand him in Stranger Things. I don't know. He just annoys the hell out of me.
He's in Stranger Things?
Season 4, yeah. Least favorite kill, I'm gonna go with Danny just because I really like his character. It was a good kill, but man, he
Same.
got killed off too early, man. We've said it all night. This movie is funny. It's a good time. It's nothing to take too seriously. Just pop it on, have a good time. It's nostalgic. 7.5.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and go here. My favorite kill is, I have a hard time making it Farkas because the kill sucked itself, but I kind of just wanted him to die. He's one of the only people in the movie I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good. I think the hairspray kill there early on is really good, so it's one of those. My least favorite is Dick in the Blender. God damn it. Why do we have to fucking do this? This is ridiculous. That fucking hurt, man, that hurt the boys. Golly, man. Fucking the old Blender dick. You're talking about the old dick twist. That's a dick twist if I've ever seen one. Fucking, that's insane. That's a dick twirl. You know what I mean?
I can't wait to say that for the rest of the time, and people have no idea what we're talking about.
Or
Oh my
dick
God,
blender.
dude. Oh my God, dude, that's a New Year's Eve party.
You've never done a New Year's Eve party? What a fucking pussy. Got a good old Blender dick. Anyway, obviously I love the movie. I had a lot to say about it, and it was more like I didn't take these like lengthy long notes. I just did like little tiny bullet points because I was like, ooh, that fun thing. Ooh, that fun nostalgia thing. Like I mentioned that Dead Meat did. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what my notes are as well. And I think that was a lot of fun. The story's all over the place, right? I mean, I think the plot's not non-existent, but like kinda. It's an adventure tale set on the day of Y2K, and I thought that was a lot of fun. Very nostalgic for me in a lot of different ways. And I think getting to relive that, I can kind of now understand why people live for those 80s nostalgia movies and TV shows, right? This is nostalgia food for me, and that's nostalgia food for them. And so now I'm in that age bracket where fucking old ass Nissan dealerships target me by using music that came out in 2001. So I am that age now, and that fucking sucks. That being said, I enjoyed the fuck out of this movie. I gave it an 8.75.
Nice. My favorite kill is Garrett. My least favorite kill is Danny. I agree with you, Nico. I just hated to see him go. Story's predictable, full of fuck ups, but it has a great runtime. The script is tight. And since we're doing a Y2K movie, when I say tight, I feel like I should explain that it's not cool. It's meant like there's not a lot of downtime in the script.
But
All
it's
right,
also off the
Yeah,
hook.
it's tight. It's tight.
So it is tight.
It gets off
It's
the hook.
tight. Nostalgic explosion, fun as hell. An American Pie movie turned into the end of war robot apocalypse movie is not what I had on my bingo card, and I'm so fucking glad that we got it. For all the bullshit that they put out, bravo
Here we
to
go.
A24 for at least just putting it all out. Like, the lack of movies like this is honestly, like, I don't even care about all the nitpicks that I have with it. It just being fun as fuck and nostalgia gets this one an 8.25 from me.
Okay. So that gives us a composite score of 8.1875. Listen, we're quite a bit higher than everyone.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah,
we
quite a bit.
we really fucking are.
Internet Movie Database, 4.9. Rotten Tomatoes, 43%. Letterboxd, 2.6. We're the experts here.
So I had a question. Do you think that comes from, one, the qualms we pointed out about there really being no plot and it kind of being all over the place, some of the dialogues, whatever. Two, maybe it just didn't find its audience. But three, maybe I feel like a lot of people just expect a different kind of movie out of this studio. And I think that may have had a lot to do with it. Maybe they went and saw it. They're like, the hell is this? This isn't fucking You're Fond of Me Lobster or anything like that. So
They should have pitched it more as a horror movie.
100%.
That, I also think that, I've seen everything that A24's put out. They have a lot of content that's not elevated. They have some dog water movies. But I think it has to do with, if you go look at like the Metascore and everything and, Rotten Tomatoes on a lot of classic comedies that make us laugh, they don't have high reviews because people don't know how to go into it accepting that, okay, this is an absurd comedy. Let's just have fun. They want to critique everything and overanalyze, and it's so annoying. But think of Dumb and Dumber. Widely regarded.
Yeah.
A lot of people will tell you that's the best comedy ever made, right? 67% Rotten Tomatoes. Critics don't like that either. I think that comedies are just doomed to get a high critic score unless they're elevated comedy. Like I said in the chat, and I said that's so pretentious, but like a Martin McDonagh. Martin McDonagh is my favorite filmmaker.
Punch Drunk Love or whatever. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Or
Martin McDonagh is my favorite filmmaker. All of his movies are considered comedies, but they're definitely not your traditional like lowbrow comedy. But they all get high reviews. So I think it's just dumb, fun comedies just aren't going to do well with critics. And that is what it is. You can't tell me what I like.
That's right.
Facts. All right, I'm going to shout out our blood donors. Mike, you announce your theme for next month. Brian, you announce your pick for next week. All right, blood donors, we appreciate y'all. It take a huge burden off us. We really appreciate y'all. Camper Level Reoccurring, Nina, the Horror Movie Crew Podcast, Alex Seligson, Michelle Mirza, Chris Manley, and Steve Schmidt. Camp Council Reoccurring, Edwin Hernandez-Gunn, Joe Swinford, Adrian Aiello, Brian Samick, Andrew Ferguson, Brooke Maley, Heather Superdoc, Jennifer Dace from Too Close to Home Pod, Dana Tucker, Cole McAlexander, Max K, and Madison Arzola. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. Mike, announce your theme for next month.
First off, I just want to thank the blood donors as well. I appreciate that, guys. My theme for next month is we had never done a straight month of these kind of films, and I was really trying to teeter on the border of what is horror, what's not. It's been kind of in my brain lately, stuck there of like, what would some people consider horror, what would some people not? And I think thriller really rides that line. Those, like any kind of thriller, when you throw that word in there, is it horror, is it not? Hell, the Michael Jackson music video is scarier than some of the movies we're going to be covering. But no, I went with Thriller Month, which I'm very excited. Kind of branch us out just a smidge and, get us into a little bit of a different genre where it's still horror adjacent. So I'm very excited.
Brian, what's your first pick?
I don't even see horror in this at all, besides the fact that it's very realistic. But 2015's Sicario, it's written by it was one of the first movies, I think the very first movie that he actually got made. One of my favorite writers now of Yellowstone and a bunch of other stuff, Taylor Sheridan. He's a fantastic writer. I think this movie is brilliant. I think it's I don't know. I was going to say, I don't think Nico and Mike are really going to love it because it's more of an action film, but it's very realistic. And that's what I think sold me on the film to begin with. We'll get into it next week.
I'm down. It's got a good cast. I looked at that.
Yeah, it does have a great cast.
It does.
Long run time, though, Brian. Appreciate that. I'm just kidding, man.
Movie I picked's almost 2 hours, too, so I apologize. But we appreciate y'all tuning in. We'll be back next week with Thriller Month and Sicario. And let me tell you something.
Thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you next week. And in the meantime, take care of yourself.
Just want to remind everybody,